this player panel. We have a bunch of guests here to introduce. So right off the bat, we have Ben Guité, a former 13-year pro and current coach in NCAA Div 3. Next to him, we have Cam Squires, draft pick of the New Jersey Devils, and he's getting ready to play his first pro season this year, his first full pro season. Next to him, we have Josh Currie. Josh is a 12-year pro and former PEI Rocket here in Prince Edward Island. And then all the way at the end, we have Ryan Graves, current defenseman with the Pittsburgh Penguins and also a QMJHL vet. And to start it off, I'm going to hand it off to Ben, who has a special guest that he wants to introduce here on Zoom.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so guys, obviously these guys have tremendous stories and you're going to hear about them. But also I think what's important to realize, and it's like actually Alf played in the NHL too. He was a goalie at Maine with me back in the 90s and played for Vancouver coming out of college. But you'll realize that everybody's got their own path, right? It's not everybody's the same way. It's not this milestone, then you get to the NHL. All right, everybody gets at a different speed. There's some turns in the road that you don't always expect. But a big thing that's happened as of late, right, is the fact that you can now play in the CHL and go on to play the NCAA, which could be a major path for anybody, those types of that sequence to get to the NHL. And just to give you an idea, I coached at Maine for 8 years before going to Bowdoin, and we were never able to get a CHL player there. They have 12 coming in next year at Maine alone. All right, so there's a lot of players. Am I right, Alf? 12?
Yes.
Yeah. So Alf is the associate head coach at Maine. He's been recruiting there for a long time. He spent a lot of time in the Maritimes and at the M Cup in the spring. And I thought this would be a good, because at the Division III level, we're not going to do a whole lot with the CHL, but Division I, it's hugely popular right now, and we don't really know where the dust is going to settle as far as what that's going to look like in 4 or 5 years. But this is the guy that's been in the rinks, and he couldn't make it today, but I figured on being on Zoom, it'd be a good opportunity for you to hear what he's got to say for that, and of course ask him questions, because it's a real good opportunity. Alf, go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Sorry I couldn't be there. It's crazy. I was up at the Memorial Cup watching. We actually had 3 kids playing in that tournament. Goaltender for Moncton had a kid with London, and then a defenseman incoming drafted by the Panthers, Coughlin, was with Rimouski. So I was up there for the week and came back through the border and got into some hot water, I guess, to do with my visa stuff. So I'm Canadian. I'm from north of Winnipeg. So I'm in the process of doing a special green card. So they advised me not to leave the country right now. If I do, basically the stuff the process I had to do would be null void, and they'd probably just tell me to stay in Canada. So it's unfortunate because I really wanted to come up there. Benny called me last night. I talked to a couple guys up there about the tournament and the showcase going on. They said it's fantastic and a lot of great talent. So I'll definitely be leaning on Benny and different guys there at the event to kind of give us information. I'll get on Flow Hockey here for your games this evening and watch, because as Ben alluded, like, this is all new to us guys. But now the door's open for you guys to be able to come to Division I hockey. So it's a great product. I feel it's a great stepping stone from junior hockey. It's that in between the American League and the NHL. And with our program, we had 6 guys after the season finish the year in the American League. All 6 of our seniors signed NHL or one-way American League deals, so they all moved on to play pro, and that's where we think we're right in that sweet spot. And then obviously being the most northeastern school in the U.S. When it comes to D1, the Maritimes, the Quebec Major Junior are going to be a place we're definitely gonna scout heavily. I know every weekend once this opened up, every weekend I was, if I could, I was driving up but not too far from Sherbrooke, where I live in Maine. So I was up in Sherbrooke watching a Q game every Sunday, just to get the lay of the land, because this is all new to us also. But yeah, so you guys got options now for sure. And like I said, for a kid that wants to essentially, you're extending your runway to develop is what you're doing, right? In major junior route at the time, like, last year, like those kids, they have X amount of years to try to develop to get a pro contract. And now essentially you got 4 more years to develop, get bigger, stronger, faster, and then hopefully land yourself with a pro opportunity after Maine. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here to talk to you guys. And if you guys got any questions, I'll kind of open up the floor to you guys.
Any questions at all, guys?
Coaches, you guys can ask too if you got anything.
What about, do you guys consider the NCAA at all? Because you guys all went through the Q, right?
I didn't as much. I just wasn't as big for like Canadians to go to want to, especially maritime kids to go the NCAA route. It was more you just wanted to stay at major junior. But I mean now with this as an option, I think it's such a benefit to all you guys growing up to have the options. Like you said, play if you want to play major junior, and then you can get another 4 years to develop, mature in your bodies, become a better player, a better person, and also get your education. I think now it's such an advantage. And I just think it'll really benefit a lot of kids coming up. But if we would have had that, I guarantee that after my 20-year-old year, I probably would have definitely heavily considered continuing in the States, getting my education, and being able to play. Because NCAA hockey it's fantastic hockey. But yeah, just unfortunate for us, it wasn't the option. You had to kind of choose one or two, and it was tough for sure.
Yeah, same for me. You have to decide at such a young age whether you wanted to pursue NCAA or you wanted to play major junior, and when you're 15 years old, it's a hard decision to make, and the path to get there, especially from Eastern Canada, isn't always as clear, whereas you're from somewhere like BC where the ECHL is a really good league and you could move and you could do that. But for guys like myself, you have to kind of find a team out there, and you not a lot of guys went from the Maritime Junior A Hockey League to NCAA, so it was kind of a harder path to navigate. So the easy thing was to play major junior, but for a guy like myself, it took me years to develop. I turned pro at 20 and I played 4.5 years in the American League, and when I look back and I see other guys come out of college, that I think I really could have utilized a few years there to develop more and have a stepping stone. And then while I was there developing, I could have gotten my education. As I get older now, I realize hockey's not going to be forever, and you look at what's going to be the next step in your life. And looking back, it's definitely something that I would have done for sure, and I wish was an option. So I think it's great for players coming up that they have this just as an option to pursue, and it'll really make you a well-rounded athlete and well-rounded person as you go through this process.
Right, like just looking at where you were at 20, and then you're looking at guys now that are coming out of college, what's the biggest difference? You said maturity and something, like what's the biggest difference you could?
Yeah, the jump from major junior to the American League you're playing against grown men. There's guys that are 34 years old, 35 years old playing in the American League, and you're 19, turning 20, you're still physically developing, you're trying to get stronger, and the jump is big. And myself, it was okay, I'm a bigger guy, so I was able to physically compete at that age. But you see a lot of guys that aren't fully physically developed. They're 22, 23 years old, and I think that kind of weeds out some players that weren't quite ready, and you play 3 years in the American League, and all of a sudden teams see you and they're like, well, this guy couldn't make the jump. But then you see someone come out of college that's 23 years old, and they look at him and say, well, we'll see what this guy can do. It's like, well, they're the same age, so why don't they get the same perspective from both players? You see that a lot. So I think this really evens the playing field for guys that played major junior, NCAA, and kind of integrates it all, that you'll eventually just have the best players playing, and there won't be as much decision making. It'll just be if you have the talent and the will to get there, you'll get there.
And Cam, Alfie mentioned the NCAA route. For you, you went CHL with Cape Breton. What was behind that decision to take your talents to Cape?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 15, I went to, it was kind of my time around there when I was transitioning to junior. I was going to prep school, and it was right in the midst of COVID, and I'd made the decision to go to Bishop Kearney in Rochester. And so that was with the interest of going NCAA. I was from PEI, and like Currie said before, growing up, there's not a lot of, it's you know, the QMJHL is right in your face. It's right in your backyard. So for me to go there, it was more to just get a new look at the American side of things and test both ways. Obviously, that was COVID, and I ended up playing my second half of that year at home when I was 15. And basically, the Q draft rolled around, and I was taken by Cape Breton. And yeah, I just saw, like, I wanted to go major junior right then. I saw the American side of things, and like Gravy said, to kind of fill those years of like 16, 17, 18 years old before the rule change was a bit of a barrier for me. So I decided to go CHL, but I mean, now with those years not being able to be an issue, you can go play four or 5 years in the Q, the OHL or the WHL, and then go to a first-class D1 school. And like you see the facilities they have, it's second to none. It's like pro teams, so it's a pretty good. You're looking at filling like eight or 9 years of solid hockey for yourself if you can just kind of piece the puzzle together. But that was my decision making, and obviously it would have been, you know, a little less juggling around if that rule change was in place, I'd say, for everyone.
And you mentioned prep school, moved away from that. Did that make the move away to the Q any more easier for you since you were away from home for a little bit before you went to Cape Breton?
Yeah, it definitely helped. I think, like being young, everybody, you know, once you get into the game of hockey, you're starting to move away, 15, 16 years old. But I think it definitely helped me just living away from home, especially living in the States, playing with 20 new teammates, and not really knowing my way about down there. But I think the one thing that just kept me together was just focusing on hockey every day. The ability to go to practice, work out, and then do your school. You're down there, you're not worried about working, you're not worried about extra stuff, you're just having fun playing with your friends. So I think if you have the chance to kind of become independent at a young age like that, I think it's important. It's definitely helped me to get to where I am today. But like he said earlier, there's no one path that's the same. It's not going to make or break you. It's everybody, like all three of us here, have gone completely different ways too. So there's no one path's the same, but you just got to make the best of which way you go.
And Ben, you went the NCAA route. What went behind your decision?
Well, but back when I had to make that decision, it was much like these guys, I had to pick, right? I either had to stay NCAA eligible and not play in the Q, or play in the Q and not go to school. So I had, my dad had played pro hockey for a long time, and he had a taste of NCAA hockey before he became ineligible to do both. And so for him, after going through the whole thing, he's like, it was clear in his mind I was going to go to college. I wasn't an early bloomer. I definitely didn't have the opportunity these guys had at a young age to make that tough decision. So for us, it was always NCAA in my house. So I got to go to Maine at 18, 19, and I came out of there at 22 with a degree, and then I started my pro career that way. And then even then, I didn't play my first NHL game until 7 years in. So think about the long road and the different paths. You know, I went to Maine from 18 to 22. I started in ECHL, played 6 years in the American League, and I get a call up. And there's a lot of ways to get there. Alfie probably had his own, and all these guys could tell you a million stories about different things that they heard along the way.
Yeah, so going back to you now, Alfie, you see a lot of kids coming into your school. What's the biggest adjustment that they have to make, and how can they get ahead of that so before they come into the NCAA that they're ready to go?
Yeah, I think, you know, on the school aspect is making sure you're getting your 16 core courses. You can go on to collegehockeyleague.org. They do a great job of giving you information and just to make sure that you're taking the right courses for when you graduate so that you are eligible. Because like there's kind of two things that go on here. Like our school admits people, through their grades, but then you guys as athletes would have to submit to the NCAA eligibility. So the NCAA actually, they kind of determine too. So there's two things you got to go through. But if you're hitting those 16 core courses, you're going to be fine as far as getting into school. And then I just see the challenges of realizing you got kind of 2 full-time jobs, right? You're a full-time student and then you're a full-time hockey player. So, but once you guys figure out how to juggle that, then it's college hockey's a beast, right? Because we're only playing 2 games a week. So I think the big challenge for them is, working out as hard as we do throughout the whole course of the year. Like we have guys, our starting goalie, Alvin Boya, like he's making gains from his, from the beginning of his sophomore year. Like he's lifting more by the end of the season. Like that's the, when you ask kids, you ask guys on our team, what's the biggest thing coming from junior hockey or wherever they're coming from, and it's usually that. They can't believe the intensity at what college is as far as working out. Like, on a Monday we might lift heavy and hard, but then we're going to go at it on the ice too. It's not, I find in junior, you went hard on a Monday, well then it was light in the weight room, and then if you went hard in the weight room, maybe on a Tuesday, the on ice was really light. So, but we combined the two and we go hard because we have the time to recover. Your bodies have time to recover, and then because you're only playing 2 games a week, and so that's the biggest challenge I find is the physical piece. But that's the in between. I think if you talk to those guys that have played junior, major, junior, even for me out recruiting right now, I was actually shocked, like when you go down after a game and grab a kid, and I was shocked at their bodies, to be honest with you, because I've been in a lot of the U.S. rinks where the USHL model is basically our model. They only play twice a week, so those kids are in the weight room all week long. They're playing Friday, Saturday, and whereas half the guys that play major, you can't. It's you're playing so many games and you're on the buses, and so they probably don't get into the gym as much as I'm sure they would like, and that's the big difference. Is our guys are in the gym, like our elite guys or our guys that we call them savages, like they're probably doing something in the gym 4 days a week. Like our guys were in here on Sundays, they would all come and roll out, but if you came in on a Sunday, guys were on the bike doing something, they're getting a light lift, and then like you said, our 2 big lift days are Monday, Wednesdays. And but Tuesday, somebody, David Brazil was signed in Pittsburgh, like Breeze is for sure lifting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And maybe Thursday was a light day, and then they're getting at it Friday, Saturday. And it's like that for 8 months. So I think that's the difference, or the college, that missing piece is, from junior to American League hockey or NHL hockey is a lot of times it's the physical piece, and that's where college is kind of that perfect gap where, you can get physically ready, because it's usually not the skill set, it's usually the body. Just coming out of junior hockey, your body's just not quite ready for that intensity that pro hockey brings, and I think that's that nice blend that college hockey does. I know we have 13 new freshmen, we have 13 kids. They're all incoming from CHL, and we have from 06s to the 04s, right? We got, I forget, X amount of 04s. We have 2 06s and a couple 05s, but you can really see the difference in their bodies. I was actually, to be honest, I was a little surprised, but then the common sense kicks in and realize that we just don't have time to really get at it all season, where our guys do, USHL does, just because of the models built after college hockey. So.
Yeah, so now, Josh, for you stayed home to play in major junior, but still probably some adjustments for you to make day-to-day on and off the ice.
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate. I got to actually live at home for my 4 years of junior, so that's pretty rare in all of the Quebec League, Western League, and Ontario League. So Yeah, living in my backyard was pretty cool. It was pretty special. Getting to play in front of family and friends. Kind of what Cam said though. I mean, I had my mom and my dad there, so my mom did a lot of my cooking and cleaning and stuff. So I didn't kind of learn those things until I was 20, 21 when I kind of left to play pro. So there were some pros and some cons. But no, yeah, I was very fortunate, very lucky just to play in front of family and friends for 4 years, which was it was pretty special.
And Ryan, for your junior career, you spent some time off in Quebec, which is a little bit further away than Cape Breton or just down the road from your houses. So how did you adjust whenever moving almost like cross country?
Yeah, it's a time of your life when you really have to grow up quickly. I moved from a small town in Nova Scotia, so I moved away for half of the year to play midget hockey at 15, and then I played with Josh here in Charlottetown at 16, and then from there I went to Quebec for a few years. So each stage you kind of progressively come further and further away from home. So you just grow up, you learn to take care of yourself. You have a billet family that obviously they do so much for you, but you have to learn how to pick up after yourself, and just things that you should do living in someone else's house, and it helps you grow up. And it's something that prepared me when I lived on my own at 20, when I turned pro, that I was pretty seamlessly able just to live on my own. But obviously it's hard. You grow up quicker than a lot of kids do, but at the same time you're doing what you love, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's just you do end up growing up fast in a lot of your peers.
And Cam, Alfie mentioned kind of the school side of things in the NCAA. In the CHL, how did you manage the education factor and the on-ice factor?
Yeah, so CHL, it's pretty fortunate actually playing at Cape Breton. They do a great job. So every team would have an academic advisor. They have, once you go and you make your team in junior and you're playing there, you're not just on your own doing school. You're pretty fortunate to have somebody who's guiding you through it, and they're helping you. Obviously, you have to do the work. You have to, do your homework and pass your courses. But there is people in those positions to make sure that, you're set up whenever you're going to practice. You and your 10 other high school guys or whatever it is, like you guys are in the class at the same time. There's people. They're making sure. Especially now with the rule change, I'm sure those people in those positions are going to be earning their money, making sure that the courts is all aligned to NCAA. Because, just for example, for me last year, I had 3 20-year-olds on my team, and 2 of them are going AUS, and one of them is going to go to NCAA to the University of New Hampshire. And basically, he worked with our academic advisor and made sure that any courses, once the rule changed, any courses he was in that wouldn't help him in NCAA, he just dropped them and ended up taking new courses that would transition to NCAA. So all of that is looked after pretty well. So you show up on time, do your work, and pass your courses. It's pretty straightforward from a school perspective there. And there's a great package with money and bursaries and getting your education paid for 4 years. Like I'm a student at UPEI. I've done probably less courses than I would have liked over the last couple of years, but I've done a couple of courses so far at UPEI, and it's all looked after, and it's a good package, way to do it.
Now, I have one last question, and all you guys are going to get a chance to answer, and maybe we'll start with Ben, but one piece of advice to give everyone here to take that next step and make that transition easier, what would it be?
Yeah, what? I mean, I would say just be good where you are right now. Be where your feet are. I think right now it looks like the best path is, I'm going to go play legit hockey or prep school, and then I'm going to go play at Moncton for 2 years or 3, and then I'm going to go to Maine right after, and I'm going to go to the ECHL. Some guys it's going to work like that, right? Some guys, those guys like Connor McDavid is the world, and they're going to get there quick. But for the most part, it's going to take time. It's going to be hard. It's going to be left, right, center, and it's just really being good where you are. And that's the way to get noticed. And Alfie scouted for a while. I have too. I recruited, and you probably all have agents or close to. And if your agent tells me you're really good, it's kind of the equivalent of your mom picking up the phone and telling me you're really good, right? You're paying them to say those things. But when a coach picks up the phone and tells me, hey, I should really take a look at this guy, then it makes a world of a difference. That tells me that you're being really good with work. That'd be the biggest piece of advice. Check.
We'll go to Ryan next, if you got one.
I mean, a little bit what you said, that you have to enjoy where you're at. Everyone's journey is going to be different, and it's likely going to be different than you envision it if I asked you right now. So the best piece of advice I could ever give is just to enjoy where you're at and work as hard as possible, because you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what adversity is coming for you, and you don't know your path to get there. But you should enjoy it along the way. It's such an awesome journey. You're going to meet friends. You're going to learn life lessons, sports, and I think hockey teaches you life lessons that to work hard and perseverance and just enjoy it. So your path is not going to be straightforward. Like you said, unless you're Connor McDavid, then you're going to take 3 steps. You're going to be in the NHL. But there's going to be hurdles, and you will grow from it, and at the end of the day, you'll be a better player. So embrace everything with open arms and an open mind, and above everything, be willing to learn and be a good student, I guess academically, but also be ready to learn and listen to people and listen to your coaches, and just always want to grow and become a better player in person along the way.
Yeah, no, I think, just one big thing is don't get that like too focused on saying like I gotta go A, B, C, then D, I'm gonna get there. There's gonna be adversity, there's gonna be challenges, but like that's what's gonna make you a better person and player. Embrace that. And just try to be a good person, be a good teammate, be coachable, be someone that people want to work with, that like to work with. Because like who you are as a person off the ice, trust me, is going to go a lot further than what type of player you are. People want to work with or coach, kids that want to learn, that have good attitudes, they're respectful. So, make sure you carry yourself in a professional, but, in a very good way. And trust me, not even just in hockey, but off the ice. Trust me, your doors will open up for you, and good things will happen. But yeah, just work hard, whether you're studying on the ice. Don't take it for granted. Being a hockey player, it's a privilege. It's the greatest thing personally that I think that you can do. And if you have the chance to be able to keep doing this as you get older, get your education, or to make a living out of it, just really enjoy it, because there's a lot of people that would love to be in your guys' shoes. So just never take anything for granted. And don't ever forget to thank your parents and stuff. This is a very expensive sport. There's a lot of sacrifices that parents have to do, so you're able to go to the tournaments, get up to the 6 a.m. practices. So just be very thankful, be very grateful, because there's a lot of things that go behind the scenes to kind of get you to where you are, get you to this showcase this week. So just in the end, just try to be a good kid, be a good person, and things will work out.
Yeah, I think obviously those are all great points too. I'd say for me, maybe just try and have fun and enjoy. It all ties together. I just finished my 4th year in Cape Breton, and I can't believe I'm 20 years old now. It does fly by. People tell you that all the time. I remember sitting where you guys were with people up here saying the same thing. It flies by. But I played with my brother my first year in Cape Breton, and if I could go back and do that again, I'd absolutely do it. So don't wish. It's easy to get caught up trying to get to the next step, because that's exactly where you should be wanting to go. But try not to let that take away from where you're at. I'm excited for my next step in my next chapter, but it doesn't mean that the last 4 years weren't great, and I didn't enjoy every bit of them. But they are great, and just being able to play with your best friends. I went from playing with 20 of my teammates, who basically I grew up playing together, within 1 or 2 years, playing with them, playing against them, spring hockey, baseball. From whenever I got called up to the American League at the end of the year, didn't know a guy. They all had kids about a quarter of my age, and so it's different lifestyle, right? So when you're that young, you want to play and enjoy the time with your friends. And also one other thing is just comparing to other players. I remember sitting in you guys' seats and thinking, looking at lists, looking at draft lists, agencies, and there's so much distraction. Social media now too. Like when I was growing up, it's easy to look at the guy beside you and see what he's doing, which gym he's working out at, which tournament he's in, which awards they're winning. So, but then at the end of the day, for me, you think you're competing against guys your own age with a draft for junior, or you're on a team, you're trying to win a spot. But really, at the end of the day, it's an eye-opener. When I went up to the American League, I realized I'm not competing against 2005's my age. I'm competing against 35-year-olds. Every hockey player in the world is trying to get a chance at the spot you're in, so there's no sense comparing about the 10 or 20 guys next to you. So it's just a waste of time and energy. So I think when you look at it that way, it takes a lot of the stress off of, willing to have to do what's better than the guy beside you, because really you're just going to control what you do, and if you do that the best you can, things should take care of themselves.
And Alfie, same question for you. One piece of advice to anyone trying to take the next step in their career.
Yeah, I think all the coaches there have done a great job of kind of meshing it all in. I think the one thing for me is understanding there's no like hack, guys. There's no hack to getting better or to move up a level, or it's really hard work, right? It's just you are going to have to be disciplined and probably do something that a lot of your friends are willing to do. It's giving up weekends to maybe train or get up on a Saturday morning to go skate early. Like, it's those kind of things. If you were to ask every one of these guys on the panel here, like, they're probably really disciplined in their craft, and they probably enjoyed the journey more than the destination, right? Like, that's the one thing I think we're all guilty of, is we're always looking ahead and you want to get there, but really enjoying the moment, enjoy the journey you're on, because it's a pretty cool one and it goes by so fast. Like, I've been hockey, this is year 10 at Maine. I played 15 years, so it's like 25 years. So more than half my life I've been blessed to be able to do hockey at a high level, but man, it goes by so fast. And I know when things start going right for me, it's probably when I was just really enjoying the moment. Benny used the phrase, be where your feet are at. Like, I don't think there's a greater thing if you can do that and be in the moment and worry about the here and now. Because, in my time, we didn't have internet, right? I didn't have social media to go on and look. And I tell you guys, get rid of your phones if you can. Like, stay off them as much as you can, because you can get on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter and everyone's business, right? Like, when I was growing up, I only knew what the kids were doing in my neighborhood, and that's it. And that was a kilometer block, and that's it. And that's all I cared about. I wasn't worried about everyone else, what they were doing, and that's the greatest gift I know that I had as a young kid, is I didn't care what anybody else was doing. I was just doing my own journey, right? And I think it's really hard for you guys, because you guys really have the world at your fingertips with those phones, and you kind of know what's going on, where a kid is and how well he's doing, and that's the battle, right? Mentally, is you're always you're battling with yourself, and it's, can you just stay in your own lane and worry about you? Like, I tell this to people all the time, like, I told Benny, I was just with Ben last week, and I told it to some kids, like, I was a mascot in midget hockey. Like, I was only playing midget AA hockey as a 17-year-old. Think of that. In Canada, you guys all know, like, the Canadian system, I was playing AA hockey as a 17-year-old. And I took a job to be the junior A mascot. I dressed up as an eagle on Friday and Saturday nights. They gave me $30 a game. And I did that to make extra money, and I was always around the team, though, and the head coach he had to come back to the rink one evening, and his mascot was playing a game. Right, that was me. I was the net playing AA hockey. He was like, Jesus, like, our little mascot's a pretty good goalie. And he listed me to the 50-man list, and he gave me one game at the end of the year, my 17-year-old year. I did well. and he invited me back to camp as an 18-year-old. I made the team, and I had my scholarship to Maine by Christmas time, all right? But that probably doesn't happen if I'm not always around the rink being the mascot, to be honest with you. But I just love being around the rink. I'm sure if you ask any one of those guys in the panel, they're probably all rink rats. They all love being around the rink. And if you can just really love what you're doing and enjoy it, it's not a job, guys. We're all really fortunate to be able to do this. And your mom and dad and your caregivers are giving up a lot probably for you to get to do this. Like somebody said it in there, like thank them, because I know without my parents and a lot of my family, I wouldn't have been able to move away at a younger age and do that. But just understand, I tell people that story just so they know that you just never know. If you just keep grinding and believe in yourself and have fun with it, and understand there's no life hacks. You just work hard and you put in the time, and good things are going to happen. And if they don't happen in hockey, believe me, this sport sets you up for life after hockey, right? If I played till I was 37, and because of hockey, I was prepared for life after hockey, right? People are offering me jobs because I worked in a team environment. I was disciplined. You guys all know you're getting up early. Think that you're giving up your summer right now. Most kids aren't in a hockey rink giving up their summer, and you guys are, right? That takes some discipline. That takes want, and there's no hack about that. You got to put in the work. So.
All right, guys. So before we wrap up, we got a few minutes for Q&A. If anyone's any questions for any of our players or coaches here today, players or parents in the crowd, whoever has any questions. Yep.
Question for the coach. With the rule change, are you going to be looking at prep school guys, or you were going to want them to go to junior first?
Alf, did you get that?
Yeah, so we, here at Maine, we do things a little different. We have a full-time assistant coach he's just a scout. So I'd say he's watching more of the younger hockey, so prep school, I call it kid hockey. So that's midget hockey, bantam hockey. And then the other two coaches that we have, myself and another guy, Rick, will probably do more junior hockey. But we're going to keep looking. It definitely got harder. There's no question there for some kids as far as that, because, 60 teams times 20, 1,200 kids in CHL came over. But we're going to look high and low for the best players that fit what we want. But I know, our assistant last year, Eric Soltis, he was in the rinks all the time, prep hockey and stuff. So I think that it's going to take some time to adjust to what's going to be the best thing for. I think every program is going to do it different. I don't think there's no right or wrong way. It's just what works best for that program. And like you said, I know for us, we're still looking for the best player available. I called Benny last night to see who's doing well up there, and so I just think that's just how it's going to be anyway. But it's prep hockey, major AAA hockey in Canada, obviously CHL, USHL, North American League, those are all on the table. I don't think that's going to change. So.
And I would even say at the Division III level, more and more recruits are old. More and more recruits are 20-year-olds. So it's not like we don't have a relationship with prep school players. We just usually ask them to play some junior hockey to get more mature before they go to college. So I think you're still going to scout with that age group and be aware of them. But the players at that level probably come out of the CHL at the D1 level. And we're still taking players out of North American League or different communities.
All right, last call for questions before we wrap up. No? All right, then give a round of applause for our speakers.